Hello everyone. Welcome back to Matong Safety and Health Environment. Many people in hotels think that a professional safety officer is someone who walks around with a checklist, organizes fire training, and prepares documents for government submission. But in reality, the role of a professional safety officer is much wider than that. A safety officer is the person who helps the hotel identify hazards, assess risks, build preventive systems, and help every department work safely. This is not only about back-of-house operations. It also affects the hotel's image, credibility, and overall professionalism. In the previous episode, we talked about why hotels need a professional safety officer and why this position should not be viewed as just a legal requirement. Today, Matong will take you deeper into a very important topic. What does a professional safety officer actually do in a hotel? In the hotel industry, many people still misunderstand this role. Some people think a safety officer is only a person who walks around for inspections. Some think the role is only about paperwork. Some think the role is only about organizing fire drills. Some think the role is only to remind employees to wear safety shoes or gloves. And some hotels even misunderstand that the safety officer belongs under security or loss prevention. But if we look at the actual legal duties, the role of a professional safety officer is much broader than that. Under the Ministerial Regulation on the Provision of Occupational Safety Officers, personnel, departments, or groups of persons to operate safety functions in workplaces, BE 2565. Clause 22 defines several duties of a professional safety officer. These include checking and advising the employer to comply with safety laws, analyzing work to identify hazards, assessing risks, inspecting work practices, training employees, evaluating the working environment, investigating accidents, analyzing safety statistics, and recommending safety system improvements to the employer. In simple terms, a professional safety officer is not someone who waits for an accident to happen and then writes a report. A professional safety officer is the person who helps the hotel answer these questions. Before an accident happens, has the hotel already identified the risk? Does the hotel have a prevention system? Have the employees been trained? Does the hotel have evidence that risks are being controlled? And if an incident actually happens, does the hotel know how to investigate, correct, and prevent it from happening again? That is the heart of the professional safety officer's work. The first duty is to inspect and advise the employer to comply with occupational safety laws. This is very important because hotels are not only governed by hotel licensing laws or guest service standards. Hotels are also connected to occupational safety laws, fire safety regulations, chemical safety requirements, machinery safety, electrical safety, construction and maintenance safety, employee training requirements, safety committee requirements, and regulations related to the working environment. So, the professional safety officer helps the hotel check things like, does the hotel have the required safety officers according to the number of employees? Does each department have trained supervisory level safety officers where required? Does management have the required safety training? Does the hotel need a safety committee? Has the hotel conducted legally required training? Has the hotel conducted firefighting and evacuation drills? Are fire extinguishers, fire alarm systems, emergency exits, and emergency lights inspected? Are chemicals managed properly? Does the hotel have SDS, or safety data sheets for hazardous chemicals? This is not just paperwork. This work helps the hotel stay legally compliant and prevents risks from accumulating until they become serious problems. The second duty is to analyze work in order to identify hazards. The word work analysis may sound legal or technical, but in a hotel it is very easy to understand. Every job in a hotel has hidden hazards. Kitchen work is not only about cooking. It involves fire, gas, hot oil, knives, grinders, slicers, slippery floors, and pressure during service hours. Housekeeping work is not only about cleaning rooms. It involves lifting mattresses, pushing heavy carts, using chemicals, finding sharp objects in guest rooms, dealing with biological contamination, and working under time pressure. Engineering work is not only about fixing lights, air conditioning, or pumps. It involves high-voltage electricity, work at height, machines, plant rooms, confined spaces, welding, cutting, grinding, and working with contractors. Pool work is not only about keeping the water clear. It involves chlorine, acid, chemical storage rooms, chemical mixing, chemical dosing, chemical spills, and the risk of guest drowning. Laundry work is not only about washing clothes. It involves ironing machines, dryers, heat, steam, chemicals, heavy linen handling, and repetitive body movements. These are the things a safety officer must see. If the hotel only looks at work as a normal operating procedure, it will only see what employees have to do. But when a safety officer analyzes the work, the hotel starts to see what could injure employees in each step of the work. The third duty is risk assessment. After identifying hazards, the safety officer must help the hotel assess how likely the hazard is to happen and how severe the impact could be. For example, is a wet kitchen floor dangerous? Yes, because it can cause slips and falls. But if that wet floor is near a stove, near hot oil, near boiling water, or near a walkway where staff carry hot food, the risk becomes much higher. Or if gas cylinders are stored incorrectly, is that dangerous? Yes. But if they are stored in a poorly ventilated area with no warning signs, no leak test, no emergency shutoff device, and ignition sources nearby, the risk becomes very high. Risk assessment is not about making a nice table. It is about prioritizing which risks must be fixed first, which can wait, which require work to stop immediately, and which need investment to prevent a major incident. The fourth duty is to inspect and evaluate actual work practices. In hotel language, this means that a safety officer must go to the actual work site, not just sit in the office and prepare documents. The safety officer must inspect the real kitchen, the real plant room, the real chemical storage room, the real laundry area, the real emergency exits, the real waste storage area, the real back-of-house area, and the real contractors working on site. Because some documents may look perfect, but the real workplace may still be unsafe. For example, a checklist may say that emergency exits are clear, but during an actual inspection, there may be linen carts, boxes, or decorations blocking the exit route. A document may say that fire extinguishers are provided, but in reality, the extinguisher may be blocked, hard to see, or the pressure gauge may show that it is not ready for use. A document may say PPE is provided, but in reality, employees may not wear it because it is too hot, difficult to use, the wrong size, or not enforced by supervisors. This is why a safety officer must inspect the actual workplace, not to blame people, but to make sure the safety system written in documents is actually happening in real life. The fifth duty is to advise, teach, and train employees to work safely. Hotel employees come from many different backgrounds. Some have worked in hotels before. Some are new to the industry. Some are foreign workers. Some work night shifts. Some work under pressure when the hotel is busy. Some know how to do the job but do not fully understand the risks behind the job. So the safety officer must translate safety into language that employees can understand. Not only legal language. Not complicated slides that employees cannot follow. Not training just for signatures. Employees need to understand things like why chemical labels must be read, why chlorine must not be stored with acid, why welding work requires a hot work permit, why work at height must be controlled, why energy must be isolated before repairing machines, why emergency exits must never be blocked, why wet floors must be fixed immediately, not only marked with a warning sign. Good safety training makes employees feel that safety is about their lives, not just a company rule. The sixth duty is to monitor and evaluate the working environment. Many hotels overlook this point. Because hotels are service businesses, people often assume the working environment is not as dangerous as a factory. But in reality, hotels have many working environments that must be controlled. For example, heat in the kitchen, heat in the laundry area, noise from plant rooms, lighting in back-of-house corridors, air quality in confined or poorly ventilated areas. chemicals in chemical storage rooms, vapor from cleaning products, humidity and mold in some areas, repetitive movements in housekeeping and laundry. The safety officer does not always have to measure everything personally, but the safety officer must know what should be measured, what should be evaluated, when specialists are needed, and how the results should be used for improvement instead of being kept only in a file. The seventh duty is to recommend safety systems and control measures to the employer. This is one of the most important roles of a professional safety officer. A safety officer is not only someone who says, "This is wrong." A safety officer must also be able to say, "This is how we should fix it." For example, if a contractor performs welding without control, the safety officer should recommend a hot work permit system. If engineering repairs machinery without isolating power sources, the safety officer should recommend LOTO or lockout tagout. If housekeeping has frequent slip and fall incidents, the safety officer should recommend a slip prevention system such as suitable shoes, warning signs, proper mopping methods, area control, and cleaning schedules. If chemicals are stored together incorrectly, the safety officer should recommend chemical storage, chemical segregation, SDS, PPE, and emergency spill response systems. If emergency exits are blocked frequently, the safety officer should recommend daily inspections, warning signs, assigned responsibility by department, and reporting to the safety committee or management. This is the difference between an inspector and a system builder. An inspector sees the problem. A system builder prevents the problem from happening again. The eighth duty is accident and incident investigation. When an accident happens in a hotel, the most important thing is not to quickly blame the employee. Because if the hotel jumps to that conclusion too quickly, it will not solve the real root cause. For example, if a housekeeping employee slips and falls, we may think the employee was careless, but a proper investigation may find that the shoes were not suitable for the floor. The floor was slippery because of the cleaning chemical. There was no warning sign. The lighting was poor. The supervisor rushed the work, or there was no clear mopping standard. If a kitchen employee cuts their hand with a knife, we may think they were not careful. But a proper investigation may find that the knife was dull, the cutting board was slippery, cut-resistant gloves were not provided, the workspace was too narrow, service time was too rushed, or the new employee had not been properly trained. If an engineering employee receives an electric shock, we may think the technician was careless. But a proper investigation may find that there was no energy isolation system, no LOTO, no warning tag, no work supervisor, no permit, or no pre-work inspection. Good accident investigation is not about finding someone to blame. It is about finding the root cause and preventing recurrence. The ninth duty is to collect, analyze, and report safety statistics. A hotel that truly wants to improve safety must use data, not only feelings. The safety officer must look at things like how many accidents happened this month, how many near-miss reports were submitted, which department reported the most risks, which area had frequent slippery floor reports, which chemical issue was reported repeatedly, what safety rules did contractors violate most often, what percentage of corrective actions were closed, which issues have been pending too long, and which issues should be escalated to management. This information is very important because it helps the hotel act before a major incident happens. For example, if there are 14 near-miss reports about slippery floors this month, that is already a warning signal. If the hotel does not fix it, next month it may become a real accident. A good safety officer uses data to communicate with management, not only personal opinion. The 10th duty is to follow up on corrective actions. This is where many hotels fail. Sometimes problems are found, photos are taken, reports are written, meetings are held, and then everything stops. Nobody follows up to confirm whether the issue was actually fixed. A safety officer must help create a system to close corrective actions. For example, if an emergency exit is blocked, the report must state who is responsible, when it must be corrected, and when it will be rechecked. If an electrical cable is damaged, the report must state whether it has been removed from use, whether engineering has repaired it, and whether there is before and after evidence. If a chemical container has no label, the report must state which department is responsible, whether the label has been applied, and whether employees have been trained. Without follow-up, inspections become beautiful documents that do not reduce real risks. The 11th duty is to educate employees about occupational diseases and environmental health. Hotel work is not only about visible accidents such as slips, fires, or immediate injuries. There are also work-related health problems that build up over time. For example, housekeeping employees may suffer chronic back pain from lifting mattresses and bending while cleaning. Laundry employees may develop shoulder or wrist pain from repetitive work. Kitchen employees may be exposed to heat for long periods. Engineering employees may be exposed to noise or dust from maintenance work. Pool attendants may frequently handle chemicals. Night shift employees may face health effects from disrupted sleep patterns. A safety officer must look at both immediate accidents and long-term health effects. Because a hotel that truly takes care of its employees should not only ask, "Did anyone get injured today?" It should also ask, "Can our employees continue working in good health over the long term?" The 12th duty is to communicate with every department, not work alone. Although the law clearly defines the duties of a professional safety officer, in real hotel operations, the safety officer cannot succeed without cooperation from every department. The safety officer is not the person using knives in the kitchen every day. The safety officer is not the person mixing chemicals in the pool area every day. The safety officer is not the person repairing electrical systems every day. The safety officer is not the person cleaning guest rooms every day. The safety officer is not the person ironing linen in the laundry every day. The people who understand the job best are employees and department heads. The safety officer's role is to help identify risks, build systems, train people, follow up, and help management see the overall picture. Therefore, good hotel safety should not be the safety officer orders and everyone follows. It should be the safety officer helps build the system, and every department takes responsibility together. The 13th duty is to act as a system-level advisor to management. This is the role that makes a professional safety officer much more valuable than a document controller. Hotel management has to make many decisions about budget, manpower, time, image, opening services, maintenance work, contractors, and emergency response. The safety officer must help management see which issues are high risk, which must be fixed urgently, which may create legal exposure, which may damage the hotel's reputation, and which should be invested in first to prevent bigger losses. For example, installing an emergency gas shutoff system may look like a cost. But if there is a gas leak and fire, the damage will be far greater. Creating a permit-to-work system may look like it slows down operations. But if a contractor causes a fire during welding work, the damage can be extremely serious. Training housekeeping employees about chemical safety may look like a small issue, but if an employee mixes chemicals incorrectly and toxic gas is released, a small issue can immediately become a major incident. A safety officer helps management make decisions based on risk information, not only on routine habits. Now, let Matong summarize this in a simple way. If we ask, what does a professional safety officer do in a hotel? The answer is not only paperwork, not only workplace inspection, not only fire training. A professional safety officer mainly does 5 big things. 1. Understand and monitor legal compliance. 2. Identify hazards. 3. Assess and control risks. 4. Train and build understanding among employees. 5. Follow up, correct, and report so the system keeps improving. If a hotel understands the safety officer in this way, the hotel will not see the safety officer as a burden. Instead, the hotel will see the safety officer as someone who protects employees, guests, management, reputation, and the business itself. A hotel is not only beautiful beds, nice rooms, and good food. Behind the scenes, there are many people working every day. Housekeeping must clean rooms on time. Kitchen must prepare food for hundreds of guests. Engineering must maintain electrical systems, water systems, air conditioning, and machinery. Pool attendants must manage water quality and pool chemicals. Laundry must work with heat and machines. Front office must deal with guests all the time. Contractors enter the property to repair and maintain many areas. Security protects order and property safety. And management is responsible for the overall operation. If there is no strong safety system, everything may look normal on the day nothing happens. But when an incident occurs, we will immediately see whether the hotel has a real system or only documents. Matong wants to leave this thought with you. A good professional safety officer is not someone who makes the hotel fear the law. A good professional safety officer is someone who helps the hotel understand risk before that risk harms the business. For HR, GM, and hotel owners, if you already have a professional safety officer, do not use that person only for paperwork. Let the safety officer walk the workplace. Let the safety officer join meetings with department heads. Let the safety officer report risks to management. Let the safety officer work together with engineering, housekeeping, kitchen, F&B, HR, and loss prevention. And let the safety officer become part of the real hotel management system. Because when the safety officer is placed in the right structure, performs the right role, and receives support from management, the hotel will not only comply with the law, it will become safer, more professional, and more credible in the eyes of employees, guests, and external organizations. Today, you are with Matong Safety and Health Environment. If you are a hotel safety officer, HR, GM, or department head, please comment below. Do people in your hotel truly understand the role of a professional safety officer, or do they still think the role is only inspections and paperwork? In the next episode, Matong will talk about one of the most common misunderstandings in hotels. A professional safety officer is not the head of security. So what is the difference between safety and security? See you in the next episode.